Hey, Damashe, how's it going?
What's happening, man?
Oh, late start, which
Man,
isn't bad.
I gotta tell you about this setup though.
Okay.
I
Okay.
gotta tell you about this setup. So first, I'll ask you the question: do you know what microphone I'm using at least?
You're not on your Earthworks, are you?
No,
Okay. Okay. Then I'm guessing the 2005.
no. I'm on
Okay.
the
What do you
Beta
want?
87A, man.
Really? Okay. Huh. Into what though? Because you had a death of equipment earlier this week.
I'm on the P4 next.
Okay. Okay. Sounds pretty good. I like it. I like it.
I'm also propped up on my bed, not in my bed, on my bed with a bunch of pillows, with the
Oh,
boom
okay.
arm clamped onto my nightstand because we got to do the show.
And why are you all messed up with your audio this week?
So one, I didn't want to record in the old, what used to be the old home office space because it's freaking hot out there. And I'm not at the new space because I'm moving. Well, I'm pretty much moved. I got a few more things to get out of the old, place, including my desk, which is extraordinarily heavy. So I need more help with that. Uh, and I had to come home and get something to eat. Well, I had to bring Tia home so she could get something to eat. And I was like, well, I should get something to eat. And I'll just stay here because I have all of the things I need in my laptop bag to record a show anywhere at any given time. And I would prefer to do this than to go sit somewhere else with the wireless, whatever those mics are that I like.
DJ
No, I'm selling those.
Road.
The Rode. The Rode Wireless Go 2, I think is what it is. Which I thought about doing, just slapping on the bottom of the phone, clipping on the mic and just hopping in the Zoom. Like, hey, Mike, I'm here. But that ain't the best audio quality. I'm like, man, listen, I got this portable boom arm. I can clamp it to the thing and I can do the thing and I'll just sit like this and it'll work.
Well, it works. Like, that's
Man, that
positive.
is a weird message to get. Clone this and tell Claude to run it on the back. Sure, yeah, I'm doing that.
I did send that to you.
I know.
Just so you know, it was me, not someone else.
There's a weird thing to get like, oh, clone this and tell Claude to run it on your back. What? No, never do this. Stop it.
Only because I know the developers, partially. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it might only wreck your system partially.
Only partially. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. Check out the repo though, because it's not something to talk about. But I meant to send it to you earlier, and apparently I forgot to send
Okay.
it to you. So yeah, not show stuff yet. So, well, we can talk about it on the show. I am beta testing Quill, which is a writing program that Bits is working on that is working on the Mac and Windows. It was planned to just be a Windows thing, but it's cross-platform. It's a pretty cool interface, pretty simple, all written in Python.
Okay. Because my next question was about to be, is this an Electron thing?
Nope, it's all written in Python. There's some bugs, so we're working through some of the bugs and bringing up bugs, and they're getting fixed and stuff like that. 'Cause that's part of beta software, but
Yeah.
it
There's always
allows
bugs.
me to write in Markdown, and I can hit a keystroke to preview that Markdown, which is pretty cool. And there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of stuff. So if you want a
Here's the-
comprehensive program to play with, check it out.
Here's the interesting thing about that, and I'll take a look at it. For the Mac, we've always kind of had those tools.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
Windows has been lacking that sort of setup. I think I was telling you a few days ago that Mark III was out, which is a great preview app, and he's added Brett Terpstra has added a lot of lots of bits to this one. One thing is a lot more support for Word documents, so now you can actually take a Word document and open it up in Marked and have it rendered a Markdown. But his
Oh,
export stuff for creating Word documents out of Markdown has really gotten great. Like he put a lot of effort into that. I'm not really sure if I know why, but hey, he did a thing. He did a thing. But we've always kind of had a lot of this on, and I noticed that in my brief I don't say run back to Windows, but usage of Windows on a more day-to-day basis years ago after I had gotten accustomed to Markdown and using Byword on the phone and all of that. Is like, you get on Windows and like, where are the Markdown apps? Like, there's no Markdown app. Like, what is going on?
And the ones you find don't have labeled buttons, or Focus does some funky things on Windows, or they want you to pay like $30 a year or whatever for it. And it's like,
Or you just couldn't type into you open an app and you press Alt N to get a new document, and then like there's no type. I mean, you're probably typing in the document, but you can't read it.
Yeah, I want, and I'm going to submit issues / work on them myself. I am a developer. Anyways, so one of the things I'd like to be able to do is, and you may be able to do it, I need to look, is type Markdown, hit a keystroke that copies rich text to my clipboard so I can paste it into Outlook. And then this tool will always be open on my Windows machine, 100%. So.
Yeah, I'd say, again, for people listening, if you're a Mac user, and Mike knows about these services, the Markdown service tools from Brett Terpstra, you could do that thing that he just said.
Yep.
All the time. We've been doing it
all
for
the
years.
Time, anywhere.
Anyway, man, I love those services. Like, I actually donate money to Brett every so often, every few years or so, just because of those service tools. Being able to write in Markdown and select my text, and I do it in emails all the time. I think I did it once. We actually did a demo of this.
We did
at some point. Yeah,
it's at the beginning of this podcast feed, actually. And I only know that and LaunchBar. Damashe going through his LaunchBar settings are part of the first couple of episodes that are in this podcast feed. So,
oh man, LaunchBar is so freaking stupid, dude. So I did a thing today that I had never tried doing, and you're the reason I tried this.
Okay.
Because you told me about the thing with the open-end dialogues where you can just paste in, copy it. So I started trying that sort of stuff in LaunchBar. Well, today I created a new folder within the LaunchBar interface. It didn't go where I wanted it to go. So I went back to the folder, hit Command-C, went to where I wanted to go, pasted it, and the first action was like move to documents folder. And I was like, yes, do that. And did all of that just in LaunchBar. I was like, man, these are things that I never use LaunchBar for that have always been there. And even without that usage of LaunchBar, it's always been an invaluable tool for me to have installed. It's one of my probably top 5 installs, I would have to say. First 5 apps that I have to install, or at least that I'm going to set up, because I can't really say install because I just install a bunch of crap.
Yep.
But it's going to be one of the first 5 apps I open for sure and configure it, because LaunchBar is just it. But speaking of being a developer, I'm curious what your perspective is now. Working on the podcast app, I won't say the name because I don't think Mike is going to keep that name, and we don't want to just throw out.
Starting to grow on me, man. Just say it.
I mean, it's just because you keep looking at it, though.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, like, because I'm the same way. Like, it's like, oh yeah, open this app, right? Because that's the name of the app. But at the same time, if I really sit there and think about it, it's like, no, maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what Mike ends up naming it. But you are working on this app, so I'm curious what your thoughts are now. And we've had some discussion about this prior, but for one thing, like you started out wanting that, obviously wanting and needing the app to be accessible. So you thought about accessibility from the beginning, but has this changed any way that you feel about apps that are not natively accessible on mobile platforms?
So kind of, but also I need to be transparent, and I feel like I've been pretty transparent. I don't know iOS coding. I am not an iOS app developer. I am not an iOS app programmer. I will comfortably say at this point now I can develop an iOS app.
I like that distinction.
Yeah, because it's coming together, but I don't open Xcode and actually just write code in. I'm using Claude to build the whole thing together. And I ran into some accessibility challenges in the beginning with it not working the way that I wanted it to. And looking back on that, I could have better explained what it is that I was looking for. And I've done a better job at making sure that my Claude.md has information about how to run the accessibility agents to test the app to make sure that they are accessible. So let's take a step back. If you didn't know, at community-access.org, Jeff and Taylor and a couple of other contributors have put together some agents that are the accessibility agents. And you can set your coding environment up to go and run, after you install them, run the code through the accessibility agents. So in my Claude.md file that's in the project that I'm working in right now, one of the rules is that anytime code is changed, that changed code needs to be ran through the accessibility agents to make sure that there's no regression in accessibility of the app. And I have not had any unexpected unlabeled buttons or issues with the code after I implemented that. So that's one thing. But also, it makes me wonder if Claude can make things accessible and it can do something, what excuses developers have now when someone reaches out and says this is not accessible? Just as a hobby, not anything that I'm ever going to do anything with. I'm probably going to actually go delete the code tomorrow just so I don't get sucked into playing with it even more. But I put together a progressive web app that was just a little puzzle game, and you match the colors of the different elements and you drag them around on the web browser. And I was doing that on the Mac, and I put that together. That took me about 45 minutes or so to throw together with some comprehensive Claude prompting, and to be able to put that together. And it had extra levels, and I had 22 levels where it increased the difficulty as you moved on. But I put that together. I'm sitting here thinking, man, if developers / teams actually wanted, and I think that's the key word now, is want. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's a want to put the effort in to try to make their tools accessible, then they can, especially with AI, which takes me to another question that I wanted to talk to you about. And I think you and I have kind of had this conversation.
Well, Mike, so here's the thing, Mike. That's great that you started building your app and you used AI and it was all accessible, but we have 20, 15, 10, 7 years worth of code that we need to try to interject this accessibility thing into, Mike. So what are we supposed to do about that? It's not as easy as you make it sound, Michael.
Well, you can just run it into Claude, download those accessibility agents, and put them to work. That's my argument. Like, if you respond to me with that response, here's accessibility agents. Go put them to work. You know what? Tell you what. Give me $50,000. I'll do it for cheaper than $50,000. Give me some money, and I will go vibe code some accessibility into your app. But this does transition into vibe coding versus coding, and there is a lot of conversation.
Before we get there, I just want any listener that has been listening to us podcast long enough to realize that Mike is slowly turning into me to send us an email and feedback at Technically Working Out Show. Man, that sounded like me a couple of years ago. Tell you what, I ain't trying to hear that, man.
Well, there's that whole project with the what's this thing I always forget? Stream Deck. There's that whole project with the Stream Deck, and someone made an accessible version of the Stream Deck because the company isn't willing to do it. And yeah, vibe coding. There is a lot of discussion out there on the web about how vibe coding additions to repos and other projects just makes them more messy, and they are we don't want you having vibe coded into this. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, because I feel like now, with the way that technology is, vibe coding can make more things happen than would have been possible by people. There are people out there that I know, like myself, have hardly any experience with creating code, and they're building like pretty useful utilities that get the job done, and again, with accessibility in mind.
So I will start by first stating I still think vibe coding is an awful, terrible phrase to use. Just want to put that out there. But that's what that's what society has settled on. So we'll move on. I can kind of see both sides of this argument, and the one side from the open source community maintainers of projects that don't want vibe coded crap in their pull requests or issues is because people just do stuff. I think what makes a difference in this particular scenario is you're looking at it, I think, from the perspective of you check your code, or you at least make sure the stuff works. Like you're running it through several checks to ensure that it's actually functional code.
Yes.
So there's that aspect, opposed to someone who sits down, types into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever tool they're using, and gets some output. And as far as they know, it works, or it works on their machine, and it doesn't actually work. And you've just created work for a probably very low paid to no paid individual or individuals who are trying to maintain a project that is in a lot of cases dependent on by a lot of people, and you just add it to their workload. And you individually doing that and being sloppy is one thing. 100 yous doing that and being sloppy is an entirely different aspect to have to deal with. And depending on how a person has configured their repo in GitHub, for example, you can't just move on and some people's repos are very, very tightly configured. Mm-hmm. So they don't even have the option to do what I would do, which is just like, that looks like crap. Close that. Like, close that pull request. I don't care. No, you got to give reasons why you closed the pull request. What was the problem? Point out something. Like, you have to follow a process, and even that little bit of extra work. If you got 2 of these came in from these guys who are trying to learn the program and they made a few mistakes, I can go back and say, hey, take a look at this, look at that, versus here's 250 pull requests from random people that have never prior even had a conversation in your repo, let alone contributed code, and you have to sort through all of that to figure out, is it slop or is it not slop? And that's kind of what the issue is with a lot of maintainers now, is they're getting a lot, and this is even happening with a lot of bug bounty programs on the security side of things. People they're seeing security reports go through the roof, but the problem is not all of them are high quality reports. So they're having it, like, they're getting overwhelmed. Now, if you're, again, you're not this person. Michael is not this person. I'm not this person. Our listeners would never be this kind of person.
Right.
But most of the people that are getting into the whole vibe coding thing, and the reason that took off is because nobody really, a lot of people that are doing this honestly don't care about how the code works, if the code is secure. If the tool isn't checking for this stuff, they're not checking for this stuff. I told it to do a thing. It made the thing works. Mostly, I'm happy because I never could have created this, which is great until you start involving other people in it. And man, you had this conversation a year ago, almost, not quite a year ago, about using an AI tool to create something that you're going to put out to the world and put a price tag on it. And you have no idea what that code does, if it actually works the way it's supposed to. Is it optimized? Is it secure? Or is it leaking data all over the place? Is it trivial for somebody to hack it? Like, you don't know, but you built it. The AI made it work. It works. And now you want to charge money for it. And there's a... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, but you also have mainstream manufacturers who have code, and I'm not going to call any of them out, in core essential places that has been leaking data or having security updates that need to come out on Tuesdays.
He's not quite me yet, because I would absolutely call Microsoft out, but we won't do that because he's not quite me yet. He's got a few more years to get there, folks.
Yeah, a couple more years to be jaded.
That's not excusing that sort of behavior. That's not excusing that behavior at all, right? Mm-hmm. And it's even more egregious on the level of a Microsoft or some of these other companies that similarly don't fix things or and who knows what they're doing, right? But it's, to me, it's more of it's an ethical thing, right? If Microsoft knowingly has a bug that has been reported to them and it's verifiable, you have a proof of concept, all of these steps have been taken, and you just decide, oh, well, that's how it's supposed to work, we're not going to fix it, but it's actually a problem. That is a problem with Microsoft. They don't get a pass from me because they're a big company.
Right. And I think that's what makes a big difference in some of this is yes, there is significant vibe coding in some of the projects that I'm involved in, even the ones that I'm not the one putting together. But almost all of the maintainers of those projects, if you go to them and you say, hey, I hit Control-Shift-P expecting this behavior, however, received this behavior, and when I got this behavior and I hit Control-Shift-P again, it didn't close this like I expected it to. It dropped me into the print dialog. Like, as someone who gave that feedback to these maintainers, I absolutely 100% know that they're going to go back to Claude Code or to Codex or GitHub Copilot or whatever and explain to them what's happening so that way they can get that fixed. But they're also taking feedback from users and saying, oh, that's not working. Well, let's get it fixed and make it work. And the fact that it's open source and I can clone it to my own computer and do my own tests on it and have access to it to see what's going on. I think we're going to see a lot more open source projects than maybe we have in the past. Although there's been a lot of open source. I've not had as much involvement in the open source world, but that is changing.
Open source runs the world, man. Like there's this famous XCD comic of this huge, like, just pyramid of stuff built on top of this one little toothpick. And it's meant to convey the fact that there's all these giant corporations running their big multi-billion-dollar enterprises on the back of one guy in Nebraska that's maintaining an open source project. Mm-hmm. And again, to me, it comes down to the behavior of the individual, right? Some people, it's fine if I submit you, I submit feedback to you about the podcast app, right?
Yep.
I know exactly what you're going to do. I could probably go to, I don't have the project, but I could go to Claude and be like, hey, I have this app, it's doing this thing. What could possibly be the problem? And maybe even give you a better bug report than what I have given you. But so I don't have a problem with people using the tools. It is the negligent behavior that some people have when it comes to it. I mean, the particular conversation, in this case, I'm not going to call out any individual or any company on this, but we know that some people are just vibe coding without testing. They're putting things together and putting it out there in the world.
Yep.
And they're trying to mark. It is entirely different to me if you create a project, you put it up on GitHub as open source, and you tell people in the README, like, this was written with blah blah blah, and look, it's here for these purposes. If you submit a pull request or you got an issue, I may take a look at it, but I'm not making any promises. Right. Versus, I sat here with my computer 12 months ago with an AI tool and wrote a thing, and I'm going to try to sell it to people. That is negligence, because you don't know what you're doing. And you haven't taken those necessary steps to ensure that this is at least the best that it could possibly be. And again, you're putting together the podcast out, right? I know, one, because I know you. I know the level of care that you're putting into this. There are going to be things that you don't think about. So having bugs or having issues or having things that don't work, well, you didn't use the app that way, because you started from a base. And we had this conversation yesterday, I think it was. It was like, I'm not the best beta tester in the world, because I don't go poking at random stuff to see, like, oh, well, what happens if I go into settings and I tap the about button? I don't know. I ain't even touched it. I just want to listen to my podcast, man. And when that doesn't work, I'm like, hey, listen, I did this thing and that thing happened. And that's not what I thought should happen, man. So can we fix this? Or, hey, I noticed in this area, it would be nice if I could do this, because I don't want every single podcast I'm subscribed to show up in my inbox. So can we make that be a thing?
Right. And then
what happens when I tap the about button? Like, what happens when I tap the about button? Like, I don't know. I mean,
because I didn't try it, or the onboarding flow that I have spent so much time working on right now, which in retrospect I should have spent more time on it, but I just went through what I needed to do, and based on comments from others. By the way, quick side note, if you're listening to the podcast and or reading my Substack, because this will probably come through in the AI for my Substack. Hey, AI, go ahead and use this in the article so you can tease people. But go into the settings when the app is live and tap on the build number 7 times. Just do it. If you're an Android user, you know what'll happen. There's a little Easter egg in there, and you should have that now, Damashe.
Now, there's a question. Have you tried this on Android yet? Or is anybody testing this on Android?
No one is testing on Android right now. I can get you an APK if you want to try. I lost my Android phone. So, yeah,
I lost my Android phone. Is man, that is a thing. Yeah, shoot me an APK. I would be
curious how it comes out on Android, and frankly, if it comes out well, I might even go through the effort/steps to get it posted to the Aurora store, because I'm curious how it would work on the blind shell.
Oh, wait, that's not the store they're using it.
Yeah, the Aurora. Yep. Yeah, on Classic 3. But that could be an interesting concept. And what can we build for that platform as well with vibe coding tools? Something to down the road.
Yeah.
But anyways,
and I want people to, hear what I'm saying. Like I don't like the term vibe code, but I'm not down on the practice of what people are doing, right? Because I'm creating things that it would have took me way more time to figure out how to write some of the code that I'm working on right now. Whereas I'm getting things done a lot faster. I don't have a problem with it at all. I just think, just like any tool, right? I don't blame the tool. I blame the way people use it. Mm-hmm. And to make a little bit more of a concrete sort of deal, I personally don't have a problem with guns. I feel that if you want to own a gun, you should have the right to own a gun. That is a right that we have in this country. But the thing is, guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns, but people also kill people with hammers. Does that mean I shouldn't have a hammer? Right? No, it all comes down to how you use the tool. There's no excuse for negligence. There's an excuse for ignorance. And I don't mean that to be pejorative. I'm really trying to use the words in the way that their dictionary definitions are. Ignorance means you don't, to me at least, if I'm getting it right, you don't know something. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So if Mike jumps out here and he's vibe coding his podcast app and he doesn't know anything about, it would be astronomically impossible for this to be the case. But let's say Mike didn't know anything about rotor actions. Well, okay. He didn't add rotor actions. I hit Mike up and I'm like, hey, Mike, it'd be cool if I could flick down on a podcast episode and make stuff happen. He's like, oh, that's cool. I will look into that. And then he goes and adds the feature, right? That's not negligence on Mike's part. It's just a thing he didn't know.
Yeah.
Until he knew it. And I'll give an actual perfect example. The reason we have some of the actions we have in Overcast right now is because I reached out to Mark. The reason there's not a little button that is visible on the screen, but you don't hit it with voiceover when you're flicking through a list of podcast episodes is because I reached out to Marco and said, hey, I don't know what we can do about this, but we have the actions on the rotor to do these things. So I don't need that button there. Like, is there any way to not have the button there?
Yep.
And he wrote me back a few days later. He's like, that's actually a good idea. And what I found is I can hide that button so that voiceover just ignores it. Like it's not even there. And then you don't have to do 2 flicks to get to each episode. Cool. Problem solved.
Are you listening to LinkedIn?
Shout out to LinkedIn, man. Like what? But my point being, like in that case, this isn't Marco, the developer of Overcast, being negligent. He didn't know what he didn't know until I was like, man, this is kind of annoying to me. Like, can we not maybe have to do this? Yeah. Like, and he goes and learns and he figures out like, oh, okay, boom. It's the same way with anybody that is creating any sort of project with a LLM tool today that you may not know Go, may not know Python, you may not know PHP, but the tool can get you there. You know how to have a conversation to create the thing that you want to create. I'm not going to blame you if some weird bug is in there. But if you just put the tool out and like you haven't run it through any sort of, you haven't even just told the tool you're using, hey, run a security check on this and make sure that this is okay. Like, I'm going to blame you for that.
That tip right there is worth it. If you're going to get into this coding thing, please make your LLM at least check it for the latest security practices in the language that you're using, whether that be Flutter, whether that be Swift, whether that be, Python. Just have it go check for security. And there are ways you can implement tests to make sure that it runs those checks every time that you make a change.
Before you commit code, like even before it's committed to your repo, it's like, oh, I got to run these specific checks. Wait, this failed. Why did it fail? And listen, just for people, because I'm not going to blame you for this, because I blame the LLMs. Sometimes if you have tests, you need to make sure that you are very strict about your tests, which means you may have to put in your agent's MD file. Listen, when you run a test, don't do stuff to make sure it's going to pass the test. Like, don't break stuff so it passes the test. And don't lie to me and say that, oh, yeah, it passed. No, it didn't.
And make sure
that out, Chief.
And add to your Claude.md file, if you're using Claude, update tests when code is modified that will encompass that new code's actions in your tests. Because for a while, things were getting passed.
But it wasn't testing the new functionality, so
yep. And you'll forget. You'll forget with the speed that things come out and that you're able to do stuff. You'll forget to run those tests. So it's important to put that in your coding agent's MD file so it has that information. Speaking of speed, since last time we recorded, you've received 26 builds. Are you annoyed yet?
I'm gonna tell you what I'm mostly annoyed by. And I need to just go and test flight and turn them off is all the emails. But that's a test flight thing.
Yes. You can turn those off, I think, per project too, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's just for some reason at some point a couple of years ago, like test flight turned all my emails back on for betas.
Yep.
And I just haven't bought, because I don't get that many of them very rarely.
Well, you do now.
Except drafts. And I turned drafts off because like there was a point where Greg was working on, I don't remember what it was he was working on, but like he was pushing a ton of builds. And I was like, man, I don't need to see an email about drafts because I'm always using drafts. So I'm always going to make sure I check for the updates. Like, we're good. I don't need these emails. Some projects, it's like, yeah, I actually do need the email because I barely look at your app. But, oh, they did a new thing. Let's see if they fixed it. Oh, no, they didn't fix it yet. Okay. So my other question for you regarding developing this app is, how do you feel about feedback now?
I appreciate feedback. I have to take my emotions out of feedback, and that's a difficult point at times. But we're being transparent and raw, for sure. I had it was Michael Doyce, and he is testing for me primarily.
Shots fired. Wow.
Well, why is that shots fired?
I don't know. I'm just stirring up the drama now because you started out with, so I have to take my feelings out of this, so it seems like it's going to be dramatic. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
No, not too dramatic. But he has given me visual feedback for the app because Mallory's excited for what I'm doing. She's super supportive of it. She's not going to install Test Flight and get 24 builds in a week. Like she's not gonna. I know that. But Michael was giving me some feedback, and he's like, where do you go to search? And I'm like, well, it's right there above the downloads tab on the bottom right corner. He's like, oh, visually, there's no representation of that. You can find it with VoiceOver, but visually, I don't see that. And at first, my mind went, well, who cares about the sighted people? Like, we've dealt with accessibility before. And then I realized that makes me not a very good person to advocate for accessibility, because accessibility also means the sighted users need to be able to access it as well. And
do they?
I mean, hopefully, if I want a larger market, but I also don't need to leave out blind users or whatever. So, feedback is good. I appreciate feedback, but at first, I was thinking, well, why? And then, oh no, did I do this wrong? And if you're going to get into this, you need to step out of taking everything personally and take it as, thanks for that feedback. I'm going to get it cleaned up and have a process to get those taken care of. Me and GitHub Issues have become very good friends. I think I just submitted issue number 98. So definitely working my way through issues. But it's based on feedback that I'm getting. I am frustrated though. And I think you know where I'm going. I am working on week number 2 of trying, almost to week number 3 of trying to get external test flight builds for this app. And I have heard nothing from Apple. And I'm almost at the point, I think we talked about, well, I know I posted about this on my Substack. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I'm almost at the point where I'm just going to go and say, all right, let's submit this app for the App Store. I'll submit for expedited review and know that there's going to be bugs and submit to the App Store. I probably won't do that with some of the bugs that are currently existing, but I almost feel like we're getting there. Like we'll keep you guys updated on what's going on, but I might push to the App Store before the public test flight link is available, because there's no expedited way to get Apple to review your app. The build that I have in test flight for public is build 32. The build that I just pushed a couple of hours ago to private test flights is build 60. So there is significant changes in the app from what I submitted to Apple to what's currently available. But I don't want to go in and delete that build and re-add a new build, because I'm afraid that'll put me at the back of the line again. So I think this is a side effect of vibe coding, though.
I would actually say at this point it's probably worth just deleting that build and adding the most recent build. And the reason is, even if theoretically it is putting you back at the back of the line,
a lot has changed.
Yeah, a whole lot has changed. So you don't want them reviewing that particular code when you have fixed a lot of things since then. The other thing too is, like, I don't know that in your position, especially with the summer coming up, that I would be in such a hurry for there to be a public test flight. I'm not saying you should never do one.
Right.
But I wouldn't necessarily be in a huge hurry to get there with that, either. And part of it is because right now you're able to work on it, but there's going to be summer, and you're not going to have as much time to work on this, unless you're just going to completely not hang out with anybody while you're at conventions and stuff. I'm just like, nope, okay, my job for the day is done. I'm going to my room and I'm working on my app.
No, man, I'm going to go set up audio, and I'll have my Mac with me. And once the audio's set up, I'll be vibe coding.
On the hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah. We'll use Tailscale.
But I would do that. And then also, going back to friend of the show, Michael Doyes, ask him about that experience, because he has done it, and maybe he knows something, and when I say know something, like, I'm not saying Michael knows an insider. I mean, he may do, but that's not my point. Where I'm going is, like, perhaps there is a process that you didn't follow.
Right.
Or something like that, because he has done this. So I would definitely talk to him, and shout out to Michael. Like, that is valuable. Michael is one of those people that's extraordinarily valuable as a beta tester, because he has vision. He has usable vision, but he also knows voiceover well enough that he's not just fumbling around in there trying to, like, I don't know what I'm doing, man. What do I do? Like, so that is awesome. He's like, oh, I can find it with voiceover, but it's not a visual search bar. And it's like, well, swipe up with 3, pull up from the bottom with 1 finger, and then your search field appears, right? This is how this works.
Right. I laugh when Claude tells me, now remember to turn voiceover on to test this. Thanks, Claude. Appreciate the reminder.
Yeah.
But it tells me how to turn voiceover on. I can triple click the side button or tell Siri to enable voiceover. in case
Yeah.
you didn't know.
Can you really triple click the side button once your phone is set up and you didn't ever do that thing? Like, I don't think that's a thing.
You cannot.
I'm
Unless you
pretty sure
set that up.
Yeah, you got to go set that up. That's the part. That's the missing step there. But this has been interesting to watch you kind of work on this app, and I don't know how you're getting feedback from everybody else. Like, I'm just doing the thing that people do because I'm the person working on the app.
Doug's texting me feedback, and he'll tell me feedback when we're on Discord. Same with, I mean, really, it's you and Doug testing right now. Others have it installed, but the two of you are the ones that are actively providing feedback. And I'm working my way through that feedback. Your feature is coming in the very near future. PTR. Well, everything else I think you've given me has been done.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to look at the latest bills.
Yeah.
You know, just like, update this bill. Oh, well, actually, I think it's fixed. Everybody.
And I fixed that other bug too. That where the audio, I think I fixed it, where the audio skips at the end and skips back, and then it'll. So here's a funny story. Damashe asked me, "Are you not experiencing this?" And I told him, I said, "Damashe, you're using the podcast app more than I am," because Damashe, you've dropped into like all of your podcasts in there right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's using it to listen to podcasts, which is its intended experience. I'm using it to develop on and to get more familiar with this, and now to listen to podcasts, because when we had that conversation, like, I need to fix some of these things, I'm not going to encounter some of these things unless I'm actually using it like I would a normal podcast app. So it should maintain your play rate too, moving to different episodes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and my usage for people listening right now is like I imported my OPML and I started listening, and then when I run into a showstopper issue, I'll finish up whatever episode I'm listening in there, and then I'll go back to Overcast, and then I'll call Mike. I'm like, Mike, this thing right here isn't working. That thing's broken. Yep. What if you did this thing? And I'm like, I'll push these things out, or I'll see a bunch of emails when I'm checking my email. I'm like, Mike has pushed a bunch of stuff. Let me go see what he fixed. And I'll go listen, and I'll usually get through an episode or two, and then I'll run into another issue. I'm like, all right, well, I'll go back over here and listen to this episode in Overcast. And I'll call Mike, and Mike, like, this thing right here didn't work. Or Mike, listen, after about, I don't know what the time frame really is, but at some point, you're getting squashed in the background by iOS. And then when I reopen the app, it's like it forgot everything it knew. Like, you weren't listening to a show, and your speed is 1.x. And it was like, wait a minute. We were just here this same day. But I have also, and as I pointed out to Mike then too, like, I have noticed some of these bugs as far as like the background killing of the app after a while, even though it should remain the last played app. At some point, Apple is just going to do it. Apple Music is going to take over the last thing that was in the background. And so when you two-finger double tap, or you click your AirPods or whatever to play your podcast that you were listening to, oh no, you're getting some random song that you was last listening to in Apple Music. It's like, wait, what the hell is this? What is going on? Who is this? Oh, that's right. I let this person play that in the speaker when I was doing a convention. And that's why there's weird music coming out of my stuff, because I'm like, I have no idea who this is. Also, there's a tip, and I will bring that tip to you next week, because I actually need to go through and make sure I have the settings set right. But for people, if you occasionally play songs for other folks, especially if you got kids, like, parents really need to know this tip. You can make sure that everything you play doesn't automatically end up in your library in Apple Music, because that's a horrible thing to have happen. You can also do the same thing with playlists, where you can create a playlist, but it doesn't automatically save those songs to your library. So, because I am the type of person that occasionally I will say, hey, S person, shuffle songs in my library. And like, listen, some of the things that I've had to play over the years, like, I don't want to hear this stuff. This is not my kind of music.
Right.
Definitely don't want to hear, I mean, my kids wasn't really into the Baby Shark, but just for an example, I don't want to hear Baby Shark. Like, not trying to go from a Tupac song to a Baby Shark. This is not a good transition, is what I'm trying to get people to understand. So, But yeah, this has been fascinating kind of watching this process with you with the app. And the reason I asked about feedback is I'm curious if your feedback that you have been getting is constructive, or has it been the annoying feedback of, hey, this doesn't work, or why doesn't it do this, or why don't you just do that? And given what you said, I'm guessing you're not getting that type of feedback at this point.
No.
But I can almost
Not
guarantee when you do a public test flight, you're gonna get that kind of feedback.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, if it's gonna come in, and one of the things I need to do is set up a email contact and all that type of stuff. There's a process before I can really start doing public stuff. I will tell you, I jumped into a group of people who, some of them listen to the podcast, more are starting to listen to the podcast, and they are starting to talk about what I'm working on and want access to it, and are saying that some of the pain points that I'm solving with this are actual pain points that they are experiencing as well in their podcast content consumption. And I'm like, that makes this whole adventure of what started on a Monday afternoon a couple of weeks ago be more worth it. And eventually,
less than 48 hours after I told this dude, Mike, don't start that right now. Wait until after you get done with this thing, Mike.
I don't even remember what this thing was.
I don't remember what it was either, but it's like, Mike, you don't got time for that right now. Just put that on the to-do list. Start working on it after convention, Mike. Like, don't. I
want to talk about
it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No, that does, because I really shouldn't start that project right now. And then talk to Mike on Tuesday. And it's like, yeah, so last night I did a thing, and then I started doing this thing, and then this thing, and then here we go. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
And I'll have a test flight link for you in a minute. What happened to you not going to do this right now?
Come on, you've been there before too. You're like,
man, I'm there right now. I can't say nothing. Like, I'm there right now. It's like, I really need to be working on this. I need to do this. Oh man, wait a minute. I found this cool new way of making a form that is awesome. Shout out to our one so far that I know of, tip jar subscriber that has provided some feedback. Website is coming along. Yeah, Mike, I just scrubbed the thread. Started back over on that branch to get this working. So hopefully there will be a push that will go up sometime over before Monday to update some things on the website. For the person that did provide the feedback that I'm aware of,
that is the only person that's given us feedback so far.
Okay, well, they have no way of knowing that. So for the person who made the comment about, I'm going to look at the thing you mentioned about the subscribe area. And right now, that particular test site isn't automatically checking for new podcasts. So I have to manually refresh the podcast feed. That will happen automatically once the site is in production. So that's why it's 164 was not there. And 165 might be there depending on when I next update the site. But that's more of a manual process for testing purposes. Partially because I don't want to just be, if something gets away from me in this development phase, I don't want to be banging the crap out of our RSS feed and yanking on Pinecast like that.
Yeah. And it screws our numbers up when you do stuff like that,
Well, no, because it's just pulling the website. It's just
so it's not
like
actually downloading the content to the website. It's just capturing the enclosures.
Yeah, it's just capturing the enclosure and then rendering it out on the page. So yeah, it's not screwing with our numbers at all. But we should have screwed with our numbers a little bit, but it's not. But that's the reason. But I do appreciate the feedback from this person, and thank you for being a tip jar subscriber as well. Speaking of numbers, Mike mentioned something to me about some numbers the other day, and we should tell people about the numbers. Did Mike look at the numbers?
The numbers of the show?
Yeah, just for the side for people. I never look at the numbers like Mike has to.
Eerie. I was just logging in to Pinecast.
I don't look at the numbers at all. Mike has to tell me on the show. Well, Mike could tell me at any given time, but we choose for Mike to tell me about the numbers on the show because then we're being transparent like we said we were going to be about this show. So that's what I hear about the numbers is when you hear about them. Otherwise, I have no idea because I'm not. And it's not that I couldn't look. Let's be clear. I could always find out if I wanted to know. I just don't. I think it's more fun for me to find out with the listeners. How are we doing? Are we growing? Are we shrinking? Did we go down to only 25 downloads a week? Should we close the doors on the show?
I mean, 35,537 downloads in total, 442 over the last week, and 164 has had 152 downloads, which is pretty good for we're recording this on a Saturday.
That's about on average for about this time in the week. That's about average for an episode.
Go back and look at 163 has had 172 listens. 162 is at 184. I'm going to go back to 160 just to demonstrate this. 161 is 193 listens, and 160 is 162. So that one's a little bit lower than the trend that we were seeing by the further back that we go back. But if I go back here to, I'm looking for the actual episode where it kind of changed, and it was roughly, well, I can tell you which episode we've gotten significant more downloads on, and then back further, we're averaging those downloads. Do you remember an episode called Feeling It, a deep dive into multi-line braille displays?
So see, I was right. That is the episode with Chris.
Yeah, that one has 247 listens. Now, my first thought was, oh, wow, that's great. And it was a great episode. But that's also the episode where I left myself out of it, too. So we have to take that into consideration. But when I go back to 152, Mike's passwords and getting your tech stack right, that one is sitting at 233 listens. The episode before that one is sitting at 227. And then the one before that one is sitting at 236. So it's interesting. A majority of the episodes from that one earlier are over 200 downloads.
So what I'm kind of pulling from this just randomly is that, one, we're still up around our average of about 150 within the first, I would say less than the first week. So maybe the first 5 to 6 days, we're getting 150, which has been about our average roughly going for the past year, at least. Over time, we're getting more downloads of episodes, which tells me just people are getting to the show when they get to the show. It's not necessarily their main show, or they just got a lot of podcasts and they get to it when it pops in the rotation, which is cool. I'm curious if anybody listening does have a tendency to particularly push the show off into a certain time. Because I do this with some shows like Twit, for example, which generally turns out to be about 3 hours long on average. I don't listen to it every week. I can't even say I listen to it every month. But when I don't have any podcasts to listen to, or I got a long, like I'm on a flight, throw on Twit. Because it generally is going to be a good episode. It's just like, man, they're crazy long. And it's like, I
don't got time for this 3 hour long episode.
And mostly what they're going to talk about, like news wise, I've already heard it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't need them for the informational. It's more the conversational aspect of what happens on the show. But I still listen to the show. It's just not every week, not even every month will I play an episode of Twit, but I will listen to Twit. So I stay subscribed. As soon to be friend of the show, Allison Sheridan says, stay subscribed because things are always happening.
Allison's talking about vibe coding now on Mastodon too.
Man, of course she is. She's going to do a thing.
Shout out to Allison.
It's a thing.
If you're listening, let us know.
She's probably not, but she will be at some point.
Yeah, one of us got to reach out to her.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that takes. So shout out to Allison when she does hear us say, shout out to Allison because she'll hear it at some point. She's an awesome person though. You should check out No Silicast. Again, another show that I'm subscribed to. I've never canceled my subscription. I can't tell you when the last time was that I actually listened to an episode. But it's not for lack of interest in the content of the show. It's priorities.
Pause for about 90 seconds. I got to go grab a charger. I have 4% battery.
Mike's at 4%. The show's over. We're out of here, man. You know, of all of the alerts or notifications that really annoy you or get in your way or make sure that you know they happen, that battery low notification on Mac OS and on iOS really isn't all that prominent.
Yeah, is there one on Mac OS?
There is one that will happen.
Okay.
Sometimes because I've heard it, like your Mac will sleep soon if not plugged into power.
Yeah. And that's
And
it.
that happens around like 10%, and I don't think I ever hear it, and sometimes I don't even hear it at 10%. But let there be an update to Moscone. That's not what we're on. What are we on?
Sonoma?
Yeah, whatever it is. That doesn't even sound right. Are you sure that's right?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
System information
let there be
is
an
not
update to
responding, so.
There'll be an update to the Mac OS. Like, oh man, I'm gonna just get annoyed by that though. It's like, I'm actually already running that operating system. So why is his notification acting like I'm like a version or two back? It's like, no, I'm running this. You just have a point update. Calm down. But no, that notification has been up here for a week.
Yeah, Tahoe is what we're on. So, yeah, I don't really have much more. It's been, this is going to be the content for a little while, at least for the foreseeable future, so people are aware.
Oh, man, don't say that to people. No, this is not going to be the content for all you people who don't like the AI. We're going to be talking about other stuff. Mike's temporary career as an app developer. Not
temporary career. You make it seem like I'm just going to jump away from it. It's like you know me a little bit or something.
Okay, that was the point. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I made that app, man, but that was years ago. I mean, listen, man, I'm doing another thing now. I'm all about this AI music because it's happening.
That's something I haven't really gotten into, actually.
Me either, actually. But what I do want to get into is going to be playing with 11 Labs. Your voices are really good, and I got to build some stuff because I need those tools anyhow.
Look at Kakoro.
Who?
Kakoro, Kakor. I don't know. Google it. But it's on-device natural language voices or natural sounding voices, and they sound very familiar to some 11 Lab voices, and I like free.
Okay. I mean, I always like free, but also really like great. I mean,
yes.
You could give me a free nylon bag, or you could tell me pay $100 for a leather bag, and guess which one I'm taking.
Actioning 5 minutes, 39 seconds. I'm playing with this Quill tool to get some additional support in it. It's an addiction.
Man, but we live in interesting times.
We do.
Here's what I want for our listeners to do. In addition to just sending us any random feedback, whether it's criticism or not, we accept it all.
Yes.
And we appreciate it all.
But if you leave it on Pinecast, we might not see it for 6 months.
I mean, that could happen. If you leave it on Pinecast, we might not see it for a minute. Although I need to figure out a way to see if I can pull those in. However, I personally, I'm not speaking for Mike at this point. I personally reserve the right to ridicule your feedback if I find it absolutely ridiculous. Like this one person who left some feedback on Pinecast. We won't ever give your name out without your permission. You can always, you'll be anonymously ridiculed, but that may happen.
You'll know who we're talking about.
I mean, unless you just stop listening like this person said they would, because the show was so terrible that they would just never listen. I don't even know why we bother to do a show anyway. And it's like, I don't know, man, because like a couple hundred people like listening to us. And so we appreciate it. And they're not all bots, and we know this because we started before AI existed. So our numbers tell the truth, man. We were doing close to what we're doing now before, bots were downloading your show so they could analyze them and create transcripts and figure out how to imitate your voice.
But anyhow, is that saying something bad about the show if bots aren't downloading more of it?
I mean, no, it's not.
Okay. Well, to be fair, we do have transcripts of our shows, so the bot does not necessarily need to download our show to consume it.
Exactly. We've made it easy for everybody to access the show however you choose to do so. Keep an eye out on things because the website is it's ticking along. I got down a rabbit hole because I really wanted to try something new, which is also another thing. So for people who are new listeners, first off, shout out to you. Thank you for being a listener. We appreciate it. Let us know if you have any feedback. And this website that I'm working on. So I am mostly, not 100%, but I am mostly using AI to, at the moment, build a WordPress site. And we will launch it as a WordPress site. I ain't guaranteeing that next year this time it's still going to be a WordPress site. But I'm going to do that because that's where I started at.
Right.
Now, I know how to build a WordPress site, and I'm not going to say at this point I could have done everything I wanted to do inside of WordPress because some of it's a little tricky. But it's an experiment for me using AI in a way to build something that I mostly know how to do. There's some functionality there that I'm not as familiar with, but I mostly know how to do this. So I'm curious to see where it's going to go. And also it makes me feel bossy to be able to yell at the AI and be like, hey, you're doing this wrong. And I know what you're doing wrong. And you need to stop doing that thing and do what we discussed that you were going to do. And I know that I'm correct and the AI is wrong. It's nice to feel that way sometimes. Because sometimes you wonder, what the hell am I doing? And do I know what I'm doing? I'm not sure I should be doing this. But anyway, website is coming along. Be on the lookout for that. We're going to launch that pretty soon. Mike will have more conversations, more talks. What's really fascinating for me, and I think what a lot of people should try to draw from this experience with Mike talking about his again, and as he stated, and we stated last week, he's not an iOS developer. He doesn't know Swift. You could probably drop a Swift file in an email to him and like just paste the text of some Swift code in an email. And I'm going to take a guess and say Mike might not even know it's Swift. He would know it's a programming language of some sort,
but not
he
sure
probably
which
couldn't
one.
tell you it was Swift.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's on this journey and learning how the tools work, which again, and I cannot iterate this enough to people, you can choose what you do with these tools. You can choose to ignore them as if they don't exist and just wait for the bubble to burst and they're going to go away. I can absolutely guarantee you that ain't going to happen. There probably is a bubble and it's probably going to pop. But there was also a .com bubble.
It's starting to. Look at the pricing of Copilot.
There's also a .com bubble.
Yeah.
But you know,
Amazon made it through.
I still own some .coms. So I think we're kind of doing pretty good. Point being, it's not going anywhere. It's just the landscape is going to change. So you can choose to ignore the tools and act like they're going to go away, or you can do your best to try to learn how to use them. Because I think the future is going to be just like, you know, there are a lot of people who are kind of behind the curve or ended up off the road because they didn't bother to learn how to use the internet. The same thing is going to happen with AI stuff. Mm-hmm. So ask your questions. Ask all the questions, even if they seem like stupid questions. Because you know what? 9 times out of 10, you're asking a question nobody just thought to ask. It's not everybody knows this. Nobody even asked that question. So ask your questions. Chris asked some amazing questions that I had never actually thought of before. So go check out episode 153. It really was an amazing episode. Very special guest. Carrot is telling me what the weather is going to be tomorrow. Is Carrot using AI? Who knows? But stick along with us for this journey because it's going to be fascinating. If you are just joining us here recently, one premise behind this show is for us to be very transparent about what we're doing. Technically working is the intersection of the two of our lives with technology, work, and just living life. And we're always working. So there's your show title. Probably be the last time you ever hear me explain how we got that show title. Again, shout out to everybody for listening. Thank you so much for sharing the show. Thank everybody. Appreciate all of the tip jar subscribers. Shout out to subscriber number 1, just because I haven't said it in a while. So,
yes.
And if you don't know who subscriber number 1 is, guess what? Neither do we. You can follow Mike on Mastodon. He's at Payon, Payown at dragonscave.space. You can follow me, Damashe, Damashe, at technically.social. Man, we didn't talk about Hermes. You can follow the bot at tw@technically.social. Hermes is going to take care of the bot from now on. We'll have that working before we record the next show. So follow that bot because it's some. Listen, even though the bot hasn't posted for like a month, like it is always going to be a more interesting follow than following me. I'm just being honest about that. Like just facts are facts. Because Hermes is going to be looking out for that bot here. Hashtag technically working on Mastodon is also a great way to loop us into a conversation or just, let people know that you're technically working. Because listen, how many of us aren't always technically working in some kind of way? Email us feedback@technicallyworking.show. For the new people, that's it. There's .show. That's the end of the email address. Okay. You can go to the website, technicallyworking.show, to check out our very basic podcast site right now.
Yep.
That is where we live at online.
Not WordPress.
No, it's not WordPress. It's just a very basic site. It's going to also be a very basic WordPress site from everybody's perspective, man. The complications behind the scenes is, but what you see, it's going to look pretty simple. Again, we thank everybody for listening. This has been episode number
165. Yeah, 165. And while you're follow me on Substack too, because I'm doing writing on Substack.
I got to incorporate that into the closing now.
But it'll take a couple of weeks to get that in there because we've done this for 165 episodes now. So I mean we added the bot. You picked that up, but yeah, Substack. I'm trying to do a couple articles a week on there. So the first one per the week is going to be directly related to the content that's coming out on Technically Working, and then the next one later on in the week is really just whatever Claude decides that I want to write about that I give it prompts for, and it helps me with writing because I am using Claude to put that together, but it is my thoughts and my opinions.
Oh yeah, and go ahead and subscribe to our perspective.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing that's happening.
That drops on the 2nd.
You can get the trailer right now though.
Yes, you can search for it and it comes up in my podcast app.
Imagine that.
I know. I know I'm doing it. I know it's doing things right because that is a newer podcast and I did not manually submit it to the podcast app. So I know the podcast directory is actually working properly.
Hey, is that costing you anything that I meant to ask you the other day when you mentioned that you switched over to using that? Oh, okay.
Nope, it's not costing anything.
Man, the API calls for that could get really expensive.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks for listening.